Welcome to this week's episode of College Lacrosse Game Day to our mothers, hopefully Mrs. Shroff, and gentlemen. We're joined by the voice of our sport, ESPN play-by-play broadcaster, Anish Shroff. I'll shut up so you can listen to his voice instead of mine, but just so you know what the hell happened last week, here is the shot clock.
Saturday, April 12th. The Big East is wide open, and Marquette sucks. Providence 14-2.
That was harsh. Sometimes it really sucks to be you. Lafayette 11, Terriers 9.
Winkler was a twinkler with 5 blinkers against Colgate, 12-9 Lehigh.
Fairfield is pretty good, man. They're 11-1, 4-1 in the CAA, and they just beat Delaware 13-10.
Navy battled tough, but Eicher was nicer. He had the OT winner for Army, 12-11 final.
The Drexel Dragons had Daenerys Targaryen on their back as they burnt down King's Landing, or Hofstra, 14-6.
It was raining cats and dogs in Albany. The Danes beat the Cats, 15-11.
Yale says, "You're not that guy, pal," to an ambitious Dartmouth squad, 21-12, Dogs.
The Harvard Crimson saw a darker red than their jerseys. Penn caught another L, 13-6.
Spanos was Thanos Saturday, helping the Terps end Ohio State's 11-game win streak, 13-8, Maryland.
The banged-up Blue Jays knelt to Trainer, the king of the jungle, a.k.a. Happy Valley, Penn State, 10-4.
The Big East has some good defenders, Freehill and Banks, just to name two. Denver beats Georgetown 7-3.
The Duke Blue Devils were the wrong shade of blue this week. Carolina was the shade that hit, 8-7 Heels.
Spiders have 8 legs, and they had 8 goal scorers Saturday against High Point, 11-6, Richmond.
Booker's on a yacht with J-Rock and Bora Bora after his pay-per-view event. 17-12, Cornell takes Cuse.
Notre Dame, Virginia, it's a shame this game was on ESPNU. My unborn daughter saw this coming, 12-7 Irish.
Sunday, April 13th, Wolverines claw themselves out of the first half rock fight with Rutgers, 8-6 Michigan.
It's late. It's 10:20 in Boston, Massachusetts, but I have as much energy as I ever have had. I'm here with you guys, and we're together. We get to talk about lacrosse.
Where else would you rather be right now?
Yeah, nowhere. Core Power. I went there before this, and I'm on my free week trial, and I
Taking full advantage of it?
Yeah, I sweat quite a bit. Quite a bit. I've had 2 coffees and a Celsius today, so I'm jacked up.
You're over the Surgeon General's warning for caffeine intake?
Yes, with a sickness, battling illness.
That'll help.
Yeah, really wake me up. Mike, how's it going, brother?
Going well, man. Believe it or not, it's also 10:21 here in New Jersey, Eastern
same
time zone. Plenty of energy.
Let's get into this interview with Anish Shroff, the lead play-by-play commentator for lacrosse for ESPN. He's going to do some big games down the stretch, including Final Four weekend at Gillette. Anish, thank you so much for joining College Lacrosse Game Day. Really appreciate it, man.
Yeah, as I was telling you before we jumped on, no win situation here for me. I say something dumb, you guys have content, and I am you know what.
We're throwing the bait in. We're gonna reel it out. Get some good clickbait out of this for sure.
I hope you have a good editor. Yeah,
Don't worry.
I mean, we get you for 2 hours on a Saturday every week in the spring, and it's the most enjoyable time of our week. I think we speak for a lot of people listening, but curious what you do outside of that, what your day to day is like, just given your career and your profession. Can you just walk us through what a typical week is, specifically in the springtime for Anish Shroff?
you know what's great about that is, in this business there is no typical week. That to me is probably my favorite part of it. Sometimes it's my least favorite part of it, where you do crave a little bit of routine and sameness and normalcy. But with my duties with ESPN, with the Carolina Panthers, I'm all over the place sometimes. The month of March, for example, going back to February, I had about a 6-week span where I did the PLL Champ Series. I was doing college basketball, NCAA lacrosse, college baseball, and Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
Not to mention the stuff with the Carolina Panthers, all this in a 6-week span. So there is no typical week. It's very helter-skelter. It's a lot of planes, trains, automobiles, less trains, more planes, and automobiles these days. But that's what makes it fun. You kind of wake up every day. Oh, hey, what do we got going on today? Oh, all right, lacrosse this week, baseball next week, baseball and lacrosse this week, basketball. That's kind of what makes it fun. I get into the fall, and that's probably the only time of the year where it is normal, but it's just bananas, where I'm doing a college football game every Friday for ESPN, and then NFL for the Panthers every Sunday. So while that is routine and typical, and generally there is a cadence to the week, Sunday through Sunday, from September, October, and through the most part of November until basketball season starts, it's a lot of travel, and it gets pretty hairy.
Yeah, we heard in another podcast you did, you talked about some of those trips you had from Indiana out to Los Angeles from a Saturday to a Sunday, and then Arizona going out to the East Coast. So yeah, I can't imagine that turnaround. Do you like the craziness, or do you like when it's more slowed down?
Yeah, it depends. I think when you're in the middle of it, you're just so focused on the task at hand. But I think I do get to a point, usually right after the NFL and college football season ends, where it's nice to just reconnect a little bit with the family. I have a wife, I have a daughter, I have some time off in the summer, and I value that downtime. Last week, we're at Duke for UNC Duke. I was able to bring my family living in Charlotte. So, those things are nice. The ACC tournament happens to be in Charlotte, so that's local. So there's not a ton of travel this time of the year until we really get into that second week of May in the NCAA tournament. So you're home more, which is nice. And I do value my family time. Again, you're viewed on the outside by everybody else because of how public your job is by what you do. But, for me, it's being a dad, being a husband, being a son, a brother. All those things matter more for me than what I do for a living.
100%, 100%. And then you said being down there in Charlotte, you're going back to North Carolina this week, I believe, for Notre Dame at UNC. When you're going into a game day, kind of specifically for lacrosse, because you don't have the turnaround with college football, NFL, I'm sure it's different for everything. But for a college lax game day on a Saturday, what's your typical routine going into that game?
Yeah, so the big thing for me is most of it has to be in the bag by game day. For me to be able to do my job at the best of my ability, game day should be the easiest day of the week for me, because you've done all the prep, you've done all the research, you're buttoned up, you've read your notes, you've talked to the people you need to talk to throughout the week. And that goes for any sport. And that's what I've told young broadcasters. I said, if you get to a point where you're doing a game and you walk away from the game and you're going, whoa. And when you say whoa, if that was the hardest 2 or 3 hours of your week, that should be a telltale sign, hey, I got to do more during the week. So for me, game day is honestly very loose. It's very relaxed. Yeah. And I feel like that puts me in the moment. That allows me to be in the moment and do my job. If I'm scrambling day of the game to kind of figure out notes and put last minute things in, now it's like cramming for a test. And some people equate this to studying for a test. I don't memorize. For me, it's more of I just want to know the material. So when I see it, I can react to it without thinking. It's just there. You just know it, right? I'm watching baseball in the background before I jumped on with you guys, right? And somebody mentions Aaron Judge, just to know, yeah, he hit 62 home runs in 2022. And last year he was the first player since Barry Bonds with a slugging percentage over 700. Like, just to know those things because you're following it and you're a fan and you're in the day-to-day versus, okay, I need to find a nugget, I need to find a stat on this guy. So, like, those things matter in preparation. And, part of it, too, is I try to treat it the same like I would football or basketball or any other sport that I'm doing, because you're servicing the fan. And while the fan base and the audience is smaller, I mean, you guys are here. We're talking about it. People care.
Mm-hmm. Right, 100%. The baseball static, I don't speak that language, so I don't really get it. But you say you heard that, and as someone in the industry, you knew right away, like, wow, they're prepared. They did their homework. Every time we watch, you do a game, it's a privilege. So really appreciate it.
Yeah, and it's just kind of on that point, like you kind of nailed it. Like the lacrosse community and media, it's smaller than the NFL and the MLB, and there's just like less information out there. So when you're doing your prep, how are you attaining that information? Like, obviously you're a fan of the game and you know some statistics and other things at the top of your head. But when you're going into like this Carolina Notre Dame game, what does that process look like?
I get on the phone, and a lot of times, whether it's an assistant coach of a team who played North Carolina or Notre Dame, hey, you guys saw them a few weeks ago. What'd you think? Is there something to look for? Hey, we may short stick this guy. I think teams should put a shorty on this guy and double pull, or and you can pick up a few things. And so much of lacrosse is just recognizing when the moment's going to happen right before the moment is about to happen. So you can put your antenna up and you can really build the moment and build the call. And so a lot of times you're not going to source these guys on the air because they're giving you stuff on background. And that's, again, part of the process. But you might, text a head coach or call a head coach or an assistant coach and just find out some information on, teams that they've already played, teams that they've already scouted. And that helps you do a better job. Same thing, if time and the schedule allows, in the past, I'll get to practice and you might talk to a few guys. I go down on the field before the game. Usually that's probably, the one thing on game day that I do try to do is get down on the field before the game, and you'll pick up 2 or 3 little nuggets about what's going on game day. Hey, watch this guy's knee. We might pull him if he can't really hold up. For example, last week, Duke UNC, Duffy and Petramalo, we were told going into the game, they were both game time decisions. Well, that's huge. That changes the balance of the game. And so you go down in the field and you're talking with Joe Bresci, and he's like, hey, they're going to play. We're going to give it a go, and we're going to see how long they can last out there. And so, again, that context, that information, that matters. But part of that is just kind of being your own reporter and going out and just finding this stuff by talking to people.
Right. Right, yeah, you really got to put in a little extra effort and then have the intuition of your own to kind of piece it together. Is there any coach or player or personnel staff that you really look forward to, covering that game and getting a chance to talk to them before game day? Is there a relationship that you built up over the years of doing this?
I think the cool part about it is I would say a lot of them. And most of the games that I do, given ESPN's contract with the ACC, we're in the ACC a lot. So those guys are all probably sick of me, but they're all great. Bresci, Danowski, Corrigan, Gary Gate, Lars Tiffany. Those guys, one of the great things that they understand is more access they give us gives us a better chance to tell the story of their program and to really contextualize what's going on the field. And then some of those guys have been great over the years. And even, honestly, we don't do as many Big Ten games because the Big Ten network, now has a bigger slice of the pie with, those conference games. But, John Tillman over the years, Kevin Connery at Michigan, all those guys in the Ivy League that we've covered over the years, most of them, I would say overwhelmingly, almost all of them have been really great with just access and information and being forthcoming and understanding. Every now and then you run into one or two that, wants to keep the cards close to their vest. But for the most part, I find most staffs pretty easy to cover.
That was very you spread out the wealth there in the ACC. That was well done. But if you had to pick a facility, though, that you love going to call games in, what's your favorite box to call a game from?
Favorite box, and then this is – I'm glad you phrased it that way because I love doing a game at Virginia at night at Klockner. I absolutely hate our broadcast location because we're in a wind tunnel. No, I'm not kidding. People were giving me a hard time because I bundled up for a game last May. It's about 20 degrees cooler in that wind tunnel. Oh. And as you guys know, man, allergy season in the South is real.
Yep.
And so I would walk out of games from Charlottesville, and you're just breathing in the wind for 2 hours. And the next day, you can't talk. You're stuffed up. So that's rough. Klockner is one of my favorite places to do a game. It's a great setting, especially at night. I hate that press box. And I've let Lars know. So I'm not saying anything that I haven't told them already. So you guys got to get a real press box. But Syracuse, just the sight lines and where we are. And again, the first lacrosse games that I did, I was in college at Syracuse. So that vantage point is special to me. So I really like that one. Maryland, when we're down on the concourse, great. But when they put us up in the football booth, it looks like
in
you're staring
satellite.
at down on the field?
The Hubble telescope. Yeah.
He called the
Yeah,
telescope.
you're up in NASA. So that one can be a tough one. I really like Michigan and Penn State. They've got great setups. I've yet to do a game at Ohio State's new stadium. Would love to get out there. Hopefully, maybe this May. But there's a lot of good ones. There's a lot of good ones. Notre Dame is weird, and I got a story, and you guys probably have seen this. So Notre Dame, you're in the press box, but you're kind of back, and you're in this little booth, and everybody around you can hear what you're saying. It's open. It's kind of weird. So I can't tell you how many times we'll say something, and maybe it's dicey or opinionated, and somebody will turn around and look at us like, weird. We said it. Whatever. There's also no bathroom in that press box, and I don't know if you know the story.
Oh man!
But I almost got caught. And again, it's like wide open, so there's no bathroom, and it's wide open. So it's it can get dicey.
Did you get a call with a number 1 or number 2?
No, it was number 1. So this was 2021 quarterfinals. So they were supposed to have the quarterfinal in South Bend at the football stadium. But again, we're still post-COVID, so they had moved graduation up a week. So now graduation gets the football field, and the quarterfinal games get moved to Arlotta. So we had 2 games. The first one was Duke-Loyola, which went into overtime or double overtime. Duke wins the game. And then we had Maryland-Notre Dame in that second quarterfinal. So we didn't have any programming between the 2 games, so we were kind of on our own to fill. So the first game gets done. We had done the halftime from site. Then we're filling the in-between the games. So we get to the next game. Then we go into the next game. And then at halftime, it's like, all right, hot day. I've drank a lot of water. We've called a lot of lacrosse. We had an overtime game. Now we're at halftime of the second one. I got to go to the bathroom. Like, no, we need you. Like, we didn't tape halftime. We're doing the segments live. Like, oh, man. So we do the segment at halftime. We get into the third quarter. I think Notre Dame was up by 3 or 4 goals. It's into the fourth quarter now. And it's to the point now where, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, being the breaking point, I'm at about a 9.2. Like, full-on emergency. And I'm kind of thinking to myself, all right, Maryland's not going to come back, right? I mean, as long as this game doesn't go to overtime, I'm good. So the only thing on my mind right now is just please end in regulation so I can go to the bathroom. Because, again, it's an open box. We're in an age that we're in. You got, there's, like, females around, so everyone can look through the window. So I'm not getting fired over this, right? And I got to go bad. So finally, Maryland ties the game at the end of regulation. We go to overtime. I call my producer. I'm like, dude, I got to make a run for it. I got to get down to the concourse. Have Quint take us to break. I'm jumping off the headset before we even go to break. We're about to go to break before we go to overtime. And I just said, if you got to hold the face-off an extra 5 or 10 seconds, hold the face-off. So I sprint out of the booth, down through the stands, through the concourse, coil around into the tunnel, using the public restroom. And of course, I mean, now you're going forever because you've been holding it in for knows how long, right? So I'm like, hurry up. Finally, I start racing back. I see the face-off guys, moving toward the center circle. So I go, okay, they haven't started yet. And I'm running, man. I'm running through the stands. I get back in, and I see that Maryland wins the face-off. I go, oh, shoot, they started. Crap. So I'm running in. My headsets aren't even on. Now, in the back of my mind, overtime, you win the face-off. What do most teams do? You call timeout, right? So the back of my mind, I'm going, please call timeout. Please call timeout. Of course, they don't call timeout. I put on my headset. And if you watch the end of the game, watch the end of the 2021 quarterfinal. There's only one thing I say in overtime. And the first words out of my mouth, DeMeo wins it for Maryland.
God,
Wow.
I thought we'd get a play-by-play of Anish's story of an emergency bathroom break.
Oh, man.
All in a suit too. I'm picturing you in a suit the whole time doing that.
Oh, I mean, and I'm yelling at the guys there. I go, we got to get a bathroom in here. How do we not have a bathroom in the press box?
You have full right to say that. Oh my gosh, that's incredible.
And Quint's looking at me. I mean, he's trying to hold it together. He's busting out laughing. He thought it was the funniest thing. But yeah, that was wild.
Oh my gosh,
Oh,
that's
hilarious.
epic. That's epic. So I'll pass it to Mike, who's over in New Jersey. He's been awfully quiet during the interview. So, Mike, you got anything over there?
I just need the cue. That's all. That's all, guys. Yeah, Anish, we were chatting before you got on. Dan had sent the Awful Announcing podcast episode that you had with them, and something stood out to me. To paraphrase, you were essentially, he asked about different sports that you commentate, and you mentioned how college lacrosse or lacrosse in general is just so different, just because how small the game is and how a lot of people watching may not understand. So my question was, what's it like trying to please, both of the parties of college lacrosse fandom, like guys like us who are lax rats, have played, have the IQ, and then people who are watching for the first time and have no idea what's going on. What's that like?
It's a great question, because the simple answer is you just have to know going in you're not going to please everybody. And I try to be mindful of, kind of where we are in the season. Early in the season, a lot of times you'll get some new viewers whose kids might be playing lacrosse for the first time and they want to watch. And you'd be surprised how many casual fans, and I have a lot of friends, I didn't grow up in the lacrosse world, so I have a lot of friends who will watch lacrosse only because I'm doing the games. And championship weekend, on cue on the group chat, the question that I get asked all the time, hey, they shot it out of bounds, how come that's not a turnover? And when you explain that rule, I get it, it ticks off the casual fan, but I think what has always helped me and Kark and Quint is we cover other sports. And this isn't a slight on lacrosse, this isn't making the sport feel small, but doesn't get the ratings that football does or basketball or some of the other sports does. And if you're in it and you've lived in it and you're in the bubble, I think there could be an assumption that, hey, everybody knows this stuff, when the reality is most people don't. And championship weekend, and in May especially, you guys might tweet, oh, there he goes, explaining the backup rule on a shot on goal. But the reality is that's when we get our biggest audiences. Mm-hmm. And why are those audiences bigger? Because not everybody is a lacrosse fan. It might be Hopkins fans and Syracuse fans. Oh, I know they play in May. Here I come. Or Maryland fans, here we go. We're in May. I watch on Memorial Day. And so you're trying to placate a larger audience. And I think you also have to know that with some of the hardcore fans, whether you're upset, happy, indifferent, they're going to watch anyway. And right. I think we have a duty in calling this game that there's a little bit of missionary work in it as well, where you want to grow it. And I think we got to stop gatekeeping the sport. We got to stop gatekeeping the sport. You want to make this thing inclusive. You don't want to make it exclusive. When guys who play lacrosse go and shine on the football field, I'll give you a great example, like Jordan Faison. What a great story. You got a college football playoff game, and they're showing his lacrosse highlights to a game that was watched by 10 million plus people.
Yeah.
Every time Pat Spencer picks up a basketball and an announce crew is talking about his lacrosse career, you are spreading the gospel of the sport to hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of people who aren't familiar with the sport. That matters. And when you get the reaction from inside, like who cares, and that's trite and that's old, you're bubbling up the sport even more. Mm-hmm. And there's a part of me that doesn't know, does lacrosse want to cross over and be a mainstream sport, or is it comfortable being niche? Because if it is, you're going to start to see a trend that's already happening continue, which is you're going to get less and less games on linear television. You'll get more and more of what you saw last week, where you got to pay $18 for a one-camera pay-per-view production, right? That will become more of the norm if the sport is going to gatekeep and stay niche. So it's a push and pull, right? I'm not trying to alienate the hardcore fans, but we want to make it accessible to people who might have a reason to come to the game, because at one point, I always look back and say, I was that guy who had no reason to be involved with this sport, and yet I've been a fan for it for a quarter century. And part of it was I watched Mike Powell for 4 years, and I go, this is a pretty freaking cool game.
Yeah.
And he had a pretty special player, and I didn't have to be a sports fan to digest that. But watching him, I needed a reference point. And I remember somebody gave me a reference point. I said, how would you describe Mike Powell? And they said, he is Pete Maravich and Wayne Gretzky. And I said, wow. And that analogy helped me become a lacrosse fan because now I understood the sports language, and it allowed me to then get deeper again as a young fan of the game to get deeper into lacrosse.
Mm-hmm. It's almost like now you have to have a budget to set aside every year to be a lacrosse fan. And I feel like for every other major sport, that's not the case. I mean, we see, just to dive deeper, like we see having to pay $20 for individual streams. Like, is that the future of lacrosse?
Well, again, I think that starts, from the community at large, right? For so long, it's felt like you've had these competing enterprises trying to carve up a larger slice of a smaller pie instead of somebody saying, hey, let's just get a bigger oven and bake a bigger pie and we can all eat. So I think there's got to be alignment, men's and women's lacrosse, NLL and PLL. I think one of the interesting things that's going to probably happen in these next few years, the Olympic format rubs some people the wrong way because if you're a purist and a traditionalist, you say, hey, that's sixes, that's not lacrosse. If lacrosse is going to be an Olympic sport, we need the full field format. But if sixes is your avenue to get Olympic exposure and then to get that funding from the government for all those countries to, again, further the sport, if that's what you can get right now,
take it.
Take it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take it.
We might have been on the other side of the fence, but that's great perspective, right? Like, we can't be greedy. We have to take what we can get. And I feel like, across the board, that might kind of have to be the future, at least for the next couple of years.
It's just like, what other sport has like 3 different freaking versions of it? Like
no, and again, like those are valid points, right? Those are valid points where you're trying to streamline what this is supposed to be in the end. And maybe the answer is it's evolving, but I guess my fear is, let's say Olympic lacrosse hits and it hits the casual fan and they say, wow, sixes, it's 25-23 and fast-paced games and a lot of scoring, and it hits. And then the gatekeepers say, no, this ain't it. This ain't it. Go away. How is that healthy for the sport?
Yep. No, this is valid. We're all just.
And again, I'm throwing it out there because I think we're all in the same boat. I think most of us here, if you guys are doing a podcast, we're out there calling games. I mean, we want to see this thing take off.
Totally.
We want to see it grow. I think sometimes we get in our own way.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's like,
Totally.
if you are a new fan, which one of these versions matters the most? And it's hard to know. Like, they all matter to some degree, but it's like, what is the pinnacle of the sport? And I think to us, we'd say, it's the college lacrosse championship weekend. But, maybe for a young kid who's just watching lacrosse for the first time, maybe it's the PLL championship. Or for a young kid up in Canada, it's the Minto Cup or the NLL championship, right? Like there's no Stanley Cup or Super Bowl, right? There's no defined pinnacle of the sport. So, while all the versions are great and there's so much potential in each one, I think finding which one is the right one is important. And I think it's probably going to be the sixes format. Like, I could see that really kind of taking off in the future. What's your perspective on it? Like, if you could change one rule in the sixes game, the size of the nets or the size of the field or the shot clock, what would it be? Like, I think it's almost there, but I do think it's lacking something.
I would allow one pole on the field.
Mm-hmm.
wow.
I like that.
There it is. There's the clickbait. There it is. There's the
never
clip.
heard that.
Yeah.
One poll.
What
Don't have to use it,
right.
but make allowance for one pole just to give defense just a little bit of an even playing field. The feedback that I've gotten from a lot of, call them what you will, casual sports fans, casual lacrosse fans who are just watching sixes and only have been exposed to that format, their feedback has been, hey, this is fun, it's fast, it's a lot like basketball, and probably the most important thing, the rules are easy to follow and intuitive. Shoot the ball out of bounds, okay, the
Solves
turnover.
that problem.
Yes.
Just like basketball. You face off at the beginning of the quarter, okay, and then shot scored, goalie fishes it out, turn, rake, shake, and bake, we're playing. It is a very TV-friendly format, I can tell you that. Those games generally end in less than 2 hours. The action's great. You get a lot of creativity. Again, is it the traditional form that we're used to? No, it's not. But I can't sit here and say it doesn't have legs and that it's not going to have appeal for some casual fans who are going to come to it in 2028 when the Olympics roll around.
And it's got to be a different sport to do play-by-play for as well. Just the pace of it, the cadence of what's happening.
Yeah. I mean, I remember my first year. So I did the Sixes Champ Series for the PLL the last 2 years. So the first year, I remember that first game, and I'm going, oh my gosh, this is just almost radio.
Yep.
Because you're on the ball and things move so quickly. And it probably took me about a game just to say, wow, there is no real opportunity to just, okay, they're going to take their time. They're going to clear. You want to get a story in, Kark, you want to jump in. Like, you don't have time for that third person. It's just everything is moving. Everything has a purpose. And if it doesn't, you're going to turn the ball over or you're going to run out of time. So it's a lot of fun to call. I'll tell you that. It is a lot of fun to call. I've never done hockey, but I think it would probably be the closest to hockey.
There was like a dream sporting event or dream sport or like, I don't know, the Masters, a Super Bowl, I don't know, whatever it is. What would that be for you?
Yeah, it'd be the Super Bowl. It's hard not to, right? It would be the Super Bowl, and I'm hoping one day soon Carolina gets there and have that chance to hopefully call Super Bowl would be unbelievable. But yeah, I mean, that's as big of an event that we have. So it'd be hard not to say the Super Bowl.
I don't know when Carolina's going to go there, but I mean, it's on the bucket list. So yeah, no, that would be amazing. All I ask is if you're doing the Super Bowl, don't leave us because we appreciate you and thank you for all you've done for our game and thank you for doing such a beautiful job of calling some memories we have.
I'll tell you what, it's funny you say that. Like I got a lot of people who were coming after me when I took the Panthers job and they're like, oh, how dare you? And I'm just like lacrosse people. And I'm going like, I'm not leaving. I just added this. It's the NFL. Give me a break.
Yeah, I know. It's a different season.
And people, I mean, like there were some people where I was like, man, this is weird. It was like like 85, 90% just very complimentary. We're thrilled for you. We're happy for you. And then like there was a 5 to 10% in there where it was like I had pulled a Judas or a Brutus, and stabbed somebody in the back. I'm like, I'm not going anywhere. Lacrosse is fun to call. I hope that comes across. I genuinely enjoy calling the game, and at the end of the day, right? It's ESPN's call. I'll be in that spot as long as they want me in that spot. I don't have the hubris to be like, oh yeah, I want to do that for the next 10 years because somebody might be like, yeah, like, dude, we don't even have you in there for the next 2 years. So I don't know. But as long as they'll have me do it, I mean, I really enjoy it. So
it's awesome. We can tell. Thanks so much, Anish. Really appreciate your time and enjoy Carolina, Notre Dame this weekend. Should be awesome.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you, Anish.
Thanks to Anish. That conversation went for another hour and it was a complete joy.
What a great human being. Great ambassador of the game.
Someone who we didn't talk about how he got into lacrosse, but didn't play, was introduced to the sport when he went to Syracuse, and it's encouraging for me to hear someone who didn't play lacrosse as knowledgeable as he is, and not so much like all the players where they went to school and stuff. Like he knows the X's and O's. When he watches an offense, like he gets it. He gets what they're trying to do. He was critiquing some strategy in our discussion after. I was impressed.
Yeah, same. I was actually blown away.
I think the Super Bowl is an easy answer for the end. I was hoping he said like the Masters or something like that. I don't know, something unique.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not a Masters voice, though.
Oh, he could be
yeah.
for sure.
Think so?
Yeah.
You don't have to say much for the Masters, but when you do, the Jim Nantz line,
Every word counts.
as Rory McIlroy crumbles to the sacred sod. No, I could for sure see him doing that. All right, let's talk about nail guns first. We talk about booze.
Bully Boy Distillers, Boston-based small batch distillery. They offer gins, vodkas, bottled cocktails. You can shake them up, make them yourself, buy it off the shelf straight. You can find it in your local stores or ask for it at a local watering hole. Go to bullyboydistillers.com to check them out, sign up for events, or go and get yourself a drink.
They got to fill us back up here. You got to fill us back up here.
Sure do. I think they offered vodka. I don't know if vodka's our deal, but
Yeah.
maybe we'll take them up on
No,
it.
I'm sure it's pretty good. Who's got the nail gun this week? Take it away.
This week had to go with the Army Navy game. Had to focus there. Obviously the highlight. If Navy had won, I probably would have gave it to Dan Daly for his second time. Supposedly he had the flu all week. Was out of practice all week. Came game day and had 15 saves for Navy in that game. But I don't give this prestigious award to somebody on a losing team. Just like I don't believe in last place trophies. All right. But this week's nail gun of the week's Jackson Eicher. Surprise. I could give it to him solely based off the fact that he canned the game winner for Army. And it was a big moment too in front of 7,000 fans. It's the rivalry, right? But there's more to it than that. He finished with 3 goals, but before that third and final goal, that game winner, he was 2 for 15. So around 13% on the day. And still, when the game mattered most in overtime, the ball was in his stick, and he canned it, which is quite nail gun of him. I think back to last year, Army Cuse in the Dome. Army came out 14-13, won in overtime. Jackson Eicher scored the game-winning goal in an absolute thriller. This guy's done it before. Army's in a good spot right now to make the tournament. They're a team that can make a deep run, and with Jackson Eicher at the helm, senior leader, who knows what they can do, man. But congratulations, Jackson Eicher, nail gun of the week.
Yeah. I wish I got to see Jackson Eicher with a real gun.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be special.
He's probably just as good a shooter out in the
I
field.
was gonna say.
I'm sorry.
I wonder what his assignment is. But yeah, no, I think Jackson Eicher is going to be in the room for the Tewaaraton Trophy. I think he's a top 3 attackman in the country. I think he's a huge part of that Army offense, which is actually a pretty young offense, but having a stable leader like him and an experienced guy who knows what he's doing on the field and like you said, a really clutch player is huge for Army. And I think it's one of the main reasons, aside from their defense, why they've been so good this year and why they're in the position that they're in and why they got to beat Navy this past weekend. So like that pick, Mike. I was actually thinking, I didn't know who was doing the nail gun of the week. I was going to wing one, and it was going to be Jackson Eicher. So
There you go.
pretty unanimous.
And he's going to his post assignment is Fort Bragg.
Where's that?
Do they only send nail guns there? Or?
I hope they all bring their sticks. I think there's he's the only one. No, Finn McCullough is also going to Fort Bragg. They got this all on their Instagram. So I hope Finn McCullough, Jackson Eicher throw the ball around along with becoming full-blown guns. You graduate from being a nail gun. You're now a gun.
Their 10-mile rucks are just upfield passing.
Right. Downhill, they're going lefty.
They're rucksacks.
Yeah, that would be something.
There are some other stories we want to make sure we cover for All Guts section.
All guts, no glory.
All Guts, no glory. Who we got?
All guts, no glory games. Everything besides the games of the week. Each have one timeout this week, given what time it is. So use it wisely, for sure. Don't waste it. Brett now provides some additional detail on the games we don't go into depth to, but a good Friday slate. I think there's 3 or 4 lacrosse games on Friday. We're going to talk about 2 of them, and these 2 are on Big Ten Network. So if you got YouTube TV, you have a reasonable cable package, you got these games. First one, Rutgers at Penn State. Penn State is a 3.5 goal favorite in this game at home. The Crew is taking Penn State. Rutgers is 2-2 in the Big Ten. They lost to Michigan last week, 8-6. Penn State 2-2. They crushed Hopkins last week. So yeah, we're taking the Nittany Lions there. Hopkins at Maryland. This one is, I believe it's at 8 o'clock. The first one's at 6 o'clock. Hopkins at Maryland. It is a shame that this is not a game of the week. It's just a historic rivalry, a trophy game. We all know everything about it, but it just doesn't deserve to be a game of the week this week, which is unfortunate. Maryland is a 4.5 goal favorite in this game. Crew's taken Maryland unanimously. Hopkins is 0-4 in the Big Ten. They lost last week to Penn State 10-4. Maryland 2-2, but they beat a Ohio State at the end of the 11-game win streak last year. Hopkins won this game, but we think it's going to be Maryland coming out on top.
On Saturday, we have Fairfield 1.5 goals favorite at Towson. Good CAA matchup. Towson's 5-0. Fairfield's 4-1. Should be a good bout for the top of their league. Last year, Towson won 12-10. So maybe an indication of how it'll go this week. We have Fairfield.
Timeout. Yeah, CAA's kind of crazy as usual this year. There's multiple teams that look to be on track to be 4-3. There's going to be, if that happens, tiebreaker scenario where one 4-3 team doesn't make the conference tournament as other ones do. Fairfield and Towson right now are at the top of the conference, so they're playing for a 1 seed or 2 seed right now. But again, you slip to 4-3, then you're in a situation where you could be screwed. But right now, Towson, as far as projections go this week, is 68% chance to be number 1. Fairfield's 31%. Then you go to second seed, Towson's 23% and Fairfield 62%. So it's kind of a toss-up as to who's going to take the top of this conference. But it's a 1.5 goal favorite for a reason. Going to be a great game, and the CAA is just as level as it gets as far as conferences go.
Next, we have St. Joe's 3.5 goal favorite at High Point. Both are 2-1 in the A10. It's likely that both of these teams will be making the tournament. We have St. Joe's in this one.
Princeton at Penn. We are taking Princeton. Shocker. Princeton is 9-2 this year. They have 3 wins in the Ivy. 3 teams have 3 wins in the Ivy. It's Princeton, Harvard, and Yale. Both have 3 wins. Yale's kind of making a comeback. They're going to get a shot at this Ivy League tournament, most likely, if things continue as they are. Penn is 4-8. Mike's national champion prediction is 4-8. They're 1-4 in the Ivy. Very unlikely they make the tournament. But yeah, crazy. We're at this point in the year and saying that about this game. Next one, UMass at Richmond, another A10 matchup here. Richmond is a 4.5 goal favorite at home. Richmond, St. Joe's, and UMass are all 9-3 on the years, all solid records. I think they're all in most top 20s, depending on which one you look at, but I think they're all in all of them. The A10 tourney is at St. Joe's this year. That's predetermined. Last year, Richmond won this game 14-12, so I'm expecting something tight. The Crew is taking actually UMass as underdogs in this game.
Next, we have Brown traveling to Dartmouth. Dartmouth 1.5 goal favorites. Both of these teams are likely out of the Ivy League tournament. It's possible, something crazy happens, but we have the big green in this one, Dartmouth. Next, we have Siena, 4-goal favorite at Canisius. In the MAC, Siena is 5-1. Canisius is 6-1. We have Siena across the board.
MAC, baby. The MAC's back. That's a big MAC game. 2 first-place teams in the conference. That's exciting action. It's all guts, no glory at its finest.
Exciting action.
Mm-hmm.
Next one's a little different. Syracuse at Duke. Syracuse is a 2.5 goal favorite in this game. Cuse is 9-3. Duke is 9-4. We picked Cuse unanimously in this game. You think about at large, because every ACC team who does make the tournament is going to be an at-large bid. I mean, if Duke wants any shot, they need to win this game. Most importantly, to make that conference tournament, they will. Virginia's going to miss it. Duke's going to be in that conference tournament, but at-large implications are pretty big in this game. Next one, going back to the NEC, baby. Lemoyne at LIU. LIU is a 1.5 goal favorite in this game. Crew's taking LIU at home. Lemoyne 8-4 on the year. LIU 8-3 on the year. Both teams having great seasons. Lemoyne 5-0 in conference. Believe LIU has 1 loss, but this is good NEC ball. Shout out Lemoyne. They're doing some great things, but so is LIU.
Patriot League battle. We have Lehigh traveling to BU. BU 2.5 goal favorites. BU lost to Lafayette last week, and Lehigh beat Colgate. So it's starting to chip off well for the Patriot League. We have Lehigh in this one. Next, we have Providence traveling to Denver. Denver's 4.5 goal favorite. Providence is 1-2. Denver is 2-1 in the Big East. We have the Friars.
Timeout. Yeah, this is a great Big East game. The Big East is pretty wide open this year. In years past, it's been Georgetown and Denver at the top. Denver has some weaknesses, so does Georgetown. I think Providence is in a position, if they win this game, they're almost guaranteed a spot in the Big East tournament. If they lose this game, they have to go beat St. John's next week. And, you kind of leave the fate of your season in the hands of Marquette, right? If Marquette drops the one this week and next week, then they're probably in. But if Providence wants to seal the deal and get in this Big East tournament, which they are fully deserving of, they need to win this game. I get some confidence going forward. They're a good team that could win the Big East, and I know they have aspirations to do so. So beating Denver this week would be huge for them. I'm rooting for Providence this week.
Last game, Yale, 3-goal favorites at Albany. We are taking Yale in this game. Some interesting timeout calls, boys. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
You got Cuse at Duke. You got Hopkins at Maryland. Rutgers at Penn State.
All guts, no glory, baby.
And you guys went with a CAA game and a Big East game, Providence at Denver.
But I think it's like
Damn right.
because they really matter. Like now,
True.
the games that we picked are really going to have implications on, conference tournaments and NCAA tournaments, right? Like both of these games that we picked are playoff games this week, and they mean a lot. And like, not to say that Duke and Syracuse doesn't mean anything, or Hopkins, Maryland, but for those teams playing in those games and those coaching staffs and those fan bases, these games have bigger implications in those games. Fair?
Yeah, if you're watching on YouTube, you saw me just spill water all over myself as Hayden was so elegantly talking about
Dan, is that shirt purple or is it plum?
this is Plum.
It's a nice color on
This
you.
is Plum from State and Liberty. We'll see how long.
The water is also out of Brett's bathroom sink. It's like a
I
smoothie.
think there's a bunch of fluoride in that.
There's fluoride in the tap water. Don't drink it. All right, moving on. We're very lucky, to say the very least. Yeah, these are our games of the week. We have 3 games of the week. Our games of the week. We're just fired up to present to you our games of the week. The spreads are in. Ready to talk about these. It's brought to you by EMAS Strings. Brett will talk about EMAS Strings.
Yeah, I've said it. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I mean, you're not going to get a better traditional pocket than from EMAS Strings. Lucas Ando, second generation stringer. His old man, Yoshitaka Ando, strung sticks for pros, pass it on to his son. There's legacy and there's promise with pockets that come from this guy. I can't say enough good things about having one of these at your disposal to share around. It's a way to grow the game. They're like, what is that? This is a traditional pocket. But when the French missionaries came over to New America and they saw lacrosse stick, it looked like that.
Well,
Mark 3V.
yes. If you have a new head or you're looking to buy a new head, take the strings off, send it to EMAS Strings, get yourself something you can be proud to use on a daily basis. These things are legit. Go get one. If you're second guessing yourself, don't.
I think Anish has a traditional.
Probably is one framed over his exactly what the imagery that I try to put in people's heads, where it's over his desk.
Yeah.
We saw like a little scripture of some sort.
There was some lacrosse stuff.
It looked like it was like a lacrosse, like hand-drawn photo.
Yeah.
He had a helmet up in the back.
But he needs something. He needs something to put him
Exactly.
in the cradle.
If you DM him, say we came from the show, he'll give you $10 off a pocket.
He's also got hats too that are nice, so don't be shy.
Don't be bashful
Get
now.
some merch.
Now we have our games of the week. First, we're going to start in the Ivy League. 2 games are at 12 noon. Cornell at Harvard. Cornell's a 3-goal favorite in this one. It's on ESPN Plus. Unfortunately, Cruz taking Cornell unanimously in this game. I remember a couple years ago we actually went to this game. Harvard came out on top. Obviously, Cornell isn't who they are today, but Harvard's good at home this year. Besides that Colgate loss, we watched them play against Michigan. They look like a solid team every time they're at home. But I don't know. Cornell.
Are you guys going to this game?
Yeah, actually, I think I am.
Oh, you are?
There's like a youth
Yeah,
program.
you guys should go.
Oh, yeah.
I can't make it.
I've-
I will be in Albany this weekend. I might go to the Yale Albany game.
What time is that at?
It's at 7. We play at 3 o'clock at Albany.
Is
So,
it
like, right
senior
before.
day or something? Alumni weekend or something?
No. LS plays at Albany in West Jenny
Oh, nice. I didn't know.
before the Yale Albany game.
West Genesee. Shout out Maddie Mack, SLU grad. Beauty.
Yeah, should be a good one.
Alex Rosa, Anthony Talis. Yeah.
So this is probably 1 versus 3 in the Ivy League. Cornell is pretty much unanimous #1 team in the country right now. Like I've said it the past few weeks, like they are the best team because they have the best player and they have, just the most success this year and the most experience on the field. But I think they can lose on any given day. And I think Harvard's a team that could do it. I think Harvard's a little bit of a team of destiny, right? This is the best season they've had in a long time. They're playing at a high level. They have the guys to beat Cornell. I'm excited to watch this game because I know Harvard. What's the stadium called? Like the Soldiers Field Road.
Jordan
Field is going to be rocking. Like there's going to be 20 people deep on all sides of the field.
Youth teams.
Yeah, it's going to be. They should do this one in the Coliseum. Like it would get a big crowd.
They always have a great Cornell tailgate too. The Cornell tailgate's debatably better than Harvard. They get fired up for these games.
We'll go to both.
If you guys need a good sell to go to this game, this is Harvard men's lacrosse's Twitter page. They tweeted this out. Ready? It says lots of reasons to be there. #1 versus #10, 2 to Wharton candidates, top 2 scoring offenses, plus a DJ will be on site, 5 food trucks, free T-shirts to first 500 fans, bouncy house, and Harvard Lax painter, and then lastly, free Harvard lacrosse stickers and more.
Whoa.
Bouncy house.
I didn't hear anything past Bouncy House.
Eat a light
Stood out
breakfast.
to me too.
Wow, Jerry Byrne's a salesman, eh?
Jerry Byrne knows how to do it. That is electric. This is gonna be like a Final Four weekend. Get like the fan zone, probably
the fan
clock your fastest shot, do some accuracy challenges, win a Wonder Boy. I would give a lot to be at this game. But I won't be able to make it.
Xander clocked at 86 today. Did you see that?
Mike,
Wow.
what do you got on this one?
Yeah, I mean, big at-large. I mean, every game we're going to talk about in Games of the Week from here on out will probably have some type of at-large implications, but I use lacrosse reference a lot. They have really good statistics and probabilities. Cornell's a lock to be into the tournament, and Harvard has some work to do. Harvard's most likely going to be a bubble conversation team at this moment in time. Obviously, you beat Cornell, it's a different story. Cornell has the best resume as far as strength of record, and Harvard has the 9th. So it would be a massive win for Harvard, and Cornell's already a lock, so can only build their resume with a win.
9th is definitely on that bubble spot, but they are going to be able to play in the Ivy League tournament regardless of what happens.
Yeah,
Yes.
also, if you beat the #1 team in the country, like you deserve a big boost in the rankings. If Harvard wins this game, they're probably going to shoot up to 4 or 5, beating Cornell. So yeah, a lot on the line for Harvard. Even if they do lose this game, they're still going to have a chance at the Ivy League tournament. But this could bode really well for them if they win for their at-large chances. So yeah, this is going to be a great game. Going to be a great atmosphere.
ESPN Plus too. I remember last year in the Virginia game, it was on ESPN Plus, but they had a really great podcast. I have a feeling it's going to be something similar. They're going to pull out the on-field 4K cameras, and all the theatrics will be there for the Jerry Burns show.
Wait,
Next.
Mike, did you say there's a Harvard painter there?
I think painting, it said HLX painter.
Huh.
So
you guys
should Harvard
you guys
lacrosse.
should get like a self-portrait or
I was
something.
going to say, what, you going to Harvard for art school? Something's
That'd be
off.
Sweet.
Maybe it's like face painting. I saw that at a hockey
Yeah, it's
game.
probably face painting.
Yeah,
That'd be great.
I get that. Just give me some eye black. That's all I need.
Just make me a bear. Make me a big red bear.
Can you draw,
Shave your head.
Can you draw CJ Curtis taking a jump shot on my forehead? All right, next game, ACC action. Notre Dame, 1.5 goal favorites at UNC. This one's at Saturday on ESPN. Anish is going to be on the call. We are taking UNC almost unanimously. This is so much different than last year, 2 years ago. When you look at a Notre Dame UNC game, it's, obviously the Irish this year, not so much. Notre Dame's still the favorite in this one, though, but UNC, big win over Duke last week. Can they build off it? Mike, I'll start with you just to be a Harvard Lax painter, but of this game.
Yeah, I mean, this game's going to be on ESPNU, so it's going to be an excellent broadcast, probably one of the best of the weekend. Like you said, Notre Dame UNC, you think back to last year, this is not even close to a game of the week. Not even close. Notre Dame has not been the Notre Dame of the past 2 seasons, but they're still Notre Dame, and UNC has shown that they can beat some really good teams. Both are going to make the ACC tournament. This, again, at least what I'm looking at, is the bracketology of it, right? Where both these teams stand. Both teams are likely in at this moment. Obviously, one team's going to lose in this game. The ACC actually has 4 teams between 82% and 99% to get into the tournament, but no locks yet. Nobody's a lock to get into the tournament. And as far as strength of schedule goes, UNC has 4th best. Notre Dame isn't even in the top 10 as far as their strength of schedule. So you got to think you better win as much as you can in the ACC. UNC would be a good start from that perspective.
Yeah, I like that take. UNC's hot. They've been hot. I think Notre Dame is getting to that point where they're starting to get some chemistry, starting to get all their guys on the field. One guy I love is Matt Jeffrey, number 5. He's a freshman midfielder. He's a 2-sport athlete like Jordan Faison, was the number 1 recruit in the incoming class. He's really started to get some legs these past few games, and he's been electric. Like Anish was talking about a little bit, like you can't really put a shorty on him. Like you put a shorty on him, he is running by you and creating offense, whether he's going to the net or moving it to whoever. He's still a little bit raw. Like you see these 2-sport athletes come in whenever they start getting some running games, like their sticks aren't quite there yet. And his is like 80% there, I'd say. But his athleticism is 110% there, right? He is running by guys. He's a physical player. He's a great athlete. When he gets his stick to be 100%, which I think is coming in the next couple weeks or so, he is going to be a scary weapon for that Notre Dame offense. So don't count Notre Dame out of the picture yet. I still think UNC's a little more complete of a team right now, but they do have a young defense. And, I think Notre Dame could surprise some people here and win this one against UNC this weekend.
Last one, Ohio State at Michigan. Is there a name for this rivalry, Mike, in football, or
Big one?
The big game?
Yeah, I think it is the big game. Wow, what a term. I mean, you ask us what rivalry you're going to be talking about the week Hopkins and Maryland play each other, and Ohio State and Michigan play each other. Beginning of the season, you probably have different thoughts, but not this year. Ohio State red hot. Finally, that win streak comes to an end against Maryland last week, but they're 2-goal favorites at Michigan. This one's at Saturday, 4 p.m. on Big Ten Network. A lot to digest here, but we'll keep it brief, tell you only what you need to know. Hayden, I'll start with you, especially because a lot of these teams, like Ohio State, Michigan, we're not watching a ton of their games at the beginning of the season. Now they're playing Big Ten Network every week. Whoever college lacrosse is on YouTube, God bless them. They deserve a gold star because they're putting highlights up every single week, keeps us in the know. So keep doing the good work you're doing, whoever the hell you are hiding behind a keyboard. But Hayden, what do you like here?
Ohio State, Michigan doesn't get much bigger. I'd say behind Army, Navy, this is probably the biggest rivalry. We also have Hopkins, Maryland, which, really might be the biggest rivalry in lacrosse. So we'll keep an eye on that game too. But, I've never liked like the idea of the regular season title. At the end of the day, like whoever loses this game is still going to be alive. Like the regular season title is pretty much a useless, bless you, is like a useless accolade on your season, right? It literally does not matter. While this is a big game, bless you. You okay? Keep going.
Finish it.
No, so like obviously the circumstances are huge. Just being Ohio State, Michigan, these teams are going to be pissed off to play each other. But, I think at the end of the day, both these teams are going to be alive next week, and they're still going to be able to do whatever they can do to make a run at Final Four weekend. But 2 big, athletic, physical teams. It's going to be a great broadcast and an intense game.
Yeah, and you mentioned it. I don't know if you said it specifically, Hayden, but this game is for the regular season title, so whoever will be the first seed in the tournament. Ohio State, especially outside of just rivalry specific, Ohio State hating Michigan, Michigan hating Ohio State. Ohio State does have some real bitter taste in their mouth from last year. This, again, was the last game of the season, regular season for both of these guys. Michigan beat them to get home field advantage in the Big Ten tournament, and then the following week, Michigan beat Ohio State again in the first round of the Big Ten tournament. Then Michigan won the Big Ten tournament at Ohio State's home field last year. So Ohio State's going to be pissed off. They're hot. They're the hottest team in the country. They're going to want to really take it to Michigan this week, and Michigan obviously is going to want to do the same. So great game to watch.
It's exciting. Anish, when he was telling a story, he said the game was a Notre Dame Duke game, and it was in the NCAA playoffs, so it was supposed to be in the Notre Dame football stadium. And I never knew that. I never knew they had thoughts of putting a Notre Dame Lax game in the football stadium, but I don't know. I get similar thoughts for this one. I mean, Michigan, yeah, it looks great when it's packed, but like, I don't know. Like, put it in the football stadium. How cool would that be? Put it in the big house.
So cool.
Yeah. I mean, that's just future hopes for a rivalry like this, but this is going to be an awesome game. Let's go through picks really quick. They're all written down for our games this week, starting Cornell at Harvard. Mike, start with you. Around the horn.
Harvard.
Cornell.
Harvard.
Cornell. Some audibles there. We're split. Notre Dame at UNC. Michael.
Notre Dame.
UNC.
Notre Dame.
UNC. We're split again. Ohio State at Michigan. The game.
Michigan.
Ohio State.
Ohio State.
Ohio State. All right. More picking. Our step down picks. We owe some. Everyone here, I think, deserves some shots. Some back
Not
shots.
me.
With,
Mike's clean.
with tennis balls.
I'm only giving back shots.
Really, Mike, you're clean. Mike is clean. Mike, what'd you take? You had the Navy plus 5.5, which we said to feed the family with. Good pick. Don't know how you got the rights to that one. Actually, you had some family ties to Navy. That's why we gave it to you. Brett, I think it's time for you and I to ask each other what our picks were.
Sure.
Brett, what was your step down pick last week?
Rutgers plus 1.5 against Michigan.
What was the final score of the game?
8-6. Michigan. Yeah. It was close though. It was a rock fight too. It was tight in the first half, and then they kind of just pulled away. Michigan just had momentum. I feel like Rutgers, they didn't have the guys to sustain the game. They were competitive, but just it didn't work out for them.
Yep.
Dan, what was your step down pick last week?
Delaware minus 1.5 against Fairfield.
How did that one shake out?
Fairfield 13, Delaware 10.
Wow.
CAA. It's crazy. It's a good conference this year.
Yeah. No, it is.
It's thick. It's thick.
It is.
Hayden had St. Joe's minus 7.5 at Hobart. That did hit. Let's move on to this week and our picks this week. Brett, we'll start with you. What do you got?
I have Princeton minus 4.5 at Penn. I think Penn's depleted. I think Princeton just looking for a game to kind of get them going for the rest of the tournament. They're going to unleash the tiger on them.
I like it. I got Michigan +2 hosting Ohio State. I just like the rivalry game. I like that, you have a feeling it's going to come down to a 1-goal game. I'm rooting for a 1-goal game here, really. Don't really care who comes out on top, but I hope it's just great lacrosse and unfortunately not the big house, but at Michigan. Hayden, what do you got?
I have Villanova minus 2.5 versus Marquette. Marquette lost last week 14-2 to Providence. I think Villanova's playing good lacrosse right now. They're definitely a team to keep an eye on in the Big East, and I think they're going to run through this Marquette team.
Got Lehigh plus 2.5 at BU. Lehigh is just always a tough team in the Patriot League, and Lehigh's on a 2-game win streak. The last team they beat was a good Colgate team. I'm gonna take Lehigh in this one.
Anything here that we all love and want to
Fade it.
Want to feed kids with?
I feel like maybe the Villanova pick. I don't know.
That was my thought.
Yeah.
What would you like?
I'm actually, Dan, I'm with you, Michigan +2, because I think Michigan's going to win outright.
Really? Oh, yeah, well, you took them. Dan, I think you took Ohio State in your Game of the Week pick, did you not?
Yeah, I did take Ohio State, but...
You want a close game?
Yeah, exactly. I want a 1-goal game, which is really what I love the 1.5 spreads, honestly, for some of these games where we like the underdog. It's like just be a 1-goal game.
Yeah.
But
Definitely.
It hasn't been very fruitful. But we'll wrap this up. Thank you so much. Thank you, Anish. Thank you, Lacrosse. Enjoy this week. Cheers.
Legends rise.